day, students. Welcome to Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. I hope you've learned a lot from our lessons. So today we'll be looking at arid land.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
So, what are the learning objectives for today's lesson? At the end of today's lesson, students should be able to define arid land, state the types of arid lands and their examples, identify the characteristics of arid land, then discuss the adaptive features of organisms found in the arid land. What is an arid habitat? Arid is also known as deserts. It refers to an area of very low rainfall and high evaporation rates. Arid lands are the driest habitats, receiving less than 25 centimeters of annual rainforest. These areas have a small quantity of vegetation due to the incredible low amount of rainfall. In arid habitats, there is very low amount of rainfall, and it also refers to as deserts. I hope you are following us. Let's move on to the next slide. Types of arid habitats. We have two major types of arid habitats, which are the hot arid and the cold arid, or you can call it the hot desert or the cold desert. So let's look at the hot arid or the hot desert. The hot arid are usually characterized by extreme temperature, minimal precipitation, and scarce vegetation. Please take note of that three words. Extreme temperature, minimal precipitation, and scarce vegetation. The hot deserts of the world are located on the western coast of the continent within latitude 15 to 30 degrees north and south of the equator. Examples of the hot deserts are the Sahara Desert, which can be found in the North Africa, Arabian deserts, and Kalahari Desert, which can be found in the South Africa, and we also have the Great Australian Desert, which can be found in Australia. Please take note of this. So this is an image of the hot desert. Now, I hope you're following up with what we just discussed. Now we've discussed that we have two types of arid, which is the hot arid and the cold arid. So we just finished discussing the hot arid. Now we are moving on to the cold arid or desert. Do not forget that another name for arid land is known as desert. So the cold arid is also called the temperate desert. There are regions that receive very little precipitation, and experience low temperatures, especially during the winter. These deserts are found at higher latitude compared to hot deserts. The cold deserts are usually found in the interior of the continent, while the hot desert is found at the western coast of the continent. Please take note. The cold desert is usually found in the interior of the continent, around 45 to 60 degrees north and south of the equator. Examples of the cold deserts are found in the North American and in Patagonia, which can be found in South America. We have the Gobi Deserts. We have the Great Basil Deserts. We have the Karakum Desert, and we have the Antarctic Deserts. So this is an image of the cold, arid land or desert. Now we're moving on to the characteristics of desert. Why do we call this place arid? Why do we call it desert? Number one, scarcity of water. Please, learners, take note. Whenever you are asked to write the characteristics of an habitat, do not just write in one word. Always try to explain what you mean, or you write your points in a sentence. So scarcity of water. In the arid land, there is extremely low rainfall. And even if it rains, it occurs in very few occasions during the whole year. And at the end of the year, they have below 25 centimeter per annum amount of rainfall. Another characteristic is hot temperature. The desert temperature is usually very high, especially during the day, but low at night. Another example here is the presence of sandy soil. The nature of the soil in arid land is usually sandy or rocky, as there is little or no vegetation to improve the soil. We have predominance of strong wind as a characteristic of arid land. Also, the hot desert has scanty vegetation since there is low amount of rainfall. We also have the relative humidity is low since the area is characterized by low rainfall. So let's move on to the distributions of plants and plant species in arid land. The plants that are commonly found here, we have the cactus, we have the baobab tree, we have the wearing grass, and we have the hollandia. So let us look at the adaptive features of each plant, how they survive in desert. For the cactus plant, it has a leafless plant with prickles or thorn to reduce transpiration, that's the loss of water. It also has a thick succulent and side branches to store water for a long time since there is no much rainfall in the desert. Another one we'll be looking at is the WASSCE, which is a resistant plant. It has deep roots which absorb underground water deep down in the soil. Since there is low amount of rainfall, so the little water it can absorb is going to absorb it to its body. Then we have baobab tree. The leaves are waxy, hairy, or needle-shaped to help reduce the rate of transpiration. Transpiration simply means the loss of water. We also have the wearing grass. It has a narrow and slender leaves which helps to reduce the rate of transpiration in plants. Then the last plant that we'll be looking at here is the hollandia. It has extremely deep roots which is able to absorb underground water deep down the soil. So this is an image of a cactus plant that is found in the arid land or the desert. Now we're looking at the distribution of animal species in the arid land. We have camel, we have kangaroo rat, we have lizard and snake, and we also have locust. So let's take one organism at a time. A camel can drink a lot of water to sustain itself for several days, and hence can withstand a wide range of body temperature up to 40 degrees Celsius during the day. It can also walk several days without drinking water. So the little rainfall in these habitats the camel can withstand or can drink a lot of water to sustain itself for days. So we also have the kangaroo rat. It remains in burrow during the day to avoid excessive heat, thereby cutting down evaporation in its body. That is just a way to reserve the water of the kangaroo rat. We have lizard and snakes. These animals have scales on their body which limits the rate of water loss from their body. These are the adaptive features. Their scales is what they use to survive in the desert. You also have the locust. It has the waterproof body and cuticle. It also produces dry waste products. Example, we have the uric acid to enable them conserve water. Look at all these organisms. They have their adaptive features, how they survive in the desert. So this is an image of the kangaroo rats and the camel. You can also see that the camel has a very thick skin to absorb water for days. So we are looking at the food chain in the arid land. If you go through all our classes or all the habitats we've done so far, you will see that we also look at the food chain, how energy flows in such habitats. So now we're starting from the plants, and I've always told you that for a food chain must always begin with a producer. The plant is the producer. Then they have the desert rats feeding on the plants. Then we have the snakes feeding on the desert rats. Now we have another one, the plants being the producer, the ants being the primary consumer, the scorpion being the secondary consumer, and we have the snakes being the tertiary consumer. What are the factors affecting the arid habitat? Number one, the rainfall. We have rainfall, we have temperature, we have sunlight, we have wind, we also have relative humidity. So now students, I've been doing a lot of talk. So it's now to test your knowledge if you've gained something in today's lesson. Here are the practice question. Get your pen, get your book, and write your answer. I'll be giving you 3 minutes to do this. Hello students, I hope you've done this. I hope you've made an effort. Okay, so let's do this together. The question number 1 says define arid land. I said arid land is also known as a desert that refers to area of low rainfall. Don't forget, this is an important word. Low rainfall and high evaporation rates. You can also say that arid lands are the driest habitats, receiving less than 25 centimeters of annual rainfall. Are you checking with what you've written down? And mark if you are correct. Number 2 question says list 3 characteristics of arid land. Number 1 characteristics, the arid land has extreme low rainfall. Number 2, the desert or arid land temperature is usually very high during the day but very low at night. Number 3, you can say the nature of the soil in the arid land is usually sandy, as there is little or no vegetation to improve the soil. The next question says, state the adaptive features of the following organisms to desert habitats. Organism 1 is the camel, organism 2, cattle, and 3 is what? Locusts. So let's take it one at a time. The camel has a thick skin. It can drink a lot of water to sustain itself for several days and can withstand a wide range of body temperature up to 40 degrees Celsius during the day. The cattle has thorns to reduce what? Transpiration. And don't forget I said transpiration is the loss of water. It also has thick succulent stem to store what? Water. Another organism here is the locust. The locust, it has waterproof bodies and cuticle. It also produce dry waste products such as the uric acid to enable them conserve water.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
Learners, I hope you've learned from today's lesson. For any comments, for any observation, for any clarification, you can send it to our social media handles that will be showing on the screen. So we'll meet again. Bye.
Acing your WAEC and NECO examinations has been made easy by the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education with the Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates television program. Join seasoned teachers as they take you through these core subjects: mathematics, English language, physics, chemistry, and biology, targeting the exact syllabus of WAEC and NECO. Watch Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates on this station. Learners can also connect with Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates through these social media platforms to access more educational content and give their feedback. Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Pass your examinations with flying colors.